What's up, folks? How y'all doing, man? My name's Kenneth McLaurin. You in the Kenneth McLaurin Comedy Room. I'm sitting here with my man, John Felts. Say what's up, John.
How's it going?
Yo, this is the first interview we're doing, and I'm excited about it.
Very pumped.
John Felts is a comedian I met in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm gonna let him tell you a little bit more about himself.
Sure. Well, I love doing stand-up comedy, and I'm part of a troupe called Clean Getaway Comedy. We tell jokes that don't gross you out. We just kind of believe in good humor, good taste.
Okay.
And try to just deliver that. A lot of times when you go to the club, you know, even if you bring your friends, sometimes you don't want to be grossed out. You want to be vomiting during the set. You know, and some comedians really just, you know, you can tell they're just saying some stuff for shock value. They want to get a rise out of the crowd. They just want to get a kind of a shock appearance from the crowd with what you're saying.
I think that could be sort of funny, like, you know, telling jokes and people just started vomiting.
That either means you're doing really good or really bad. I feel like that could go both ways. This guy was at the crowd vomiting. It was hilarious.
Oh man, be like, oh God, I just
coming out his notes.
Barf bags, man. It's barf bag comedy.
Right. One guy grabbed his pants. It was.
Okay.
I guess it could go either way.
The Clean Comedy Tour. So you told us a little bit about why you do it. Do you have any dirty jokes?
Well, it can really go both ways. There's club clean and then there's church clean. If we're doing a show at a club, we have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more breathing room. You know, you can be just a little bit more edgy. You know, because there's humor that's, you know, clean but also adult only. You know? There are parts of the Bible I wouldn't read to a child. You know, so there's club clean.
Hold on. What part of the Bible would you not read to a child?
There's stories in the Bible about rape and about mass murder and really detailed sexuality. I mean, there's just.
I'm going to have to read more of my Bible.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna stick with Noah's Ark, you know, when it comes to Sunday school. But you know, there's jokes that are still that are clean, but still just for adults only. You know, If I'm at a church, though, you know, you have to be really shaky because people might be bringing their kids. They probably have their family there.
Right.
You know, a little more easily offended. So it's always all clean, but there are different levels. You know, depending on where you are, you just want to make sure you're mindful of your audience and you're being appropriate to your audience. So.
Okay. Now, who else is on this Clean Getaway Comedy?
My buddy Mike Santo.
Okay, I know Mike.
Yeah, you know Mike. He's a really funny guy. We met up at Nut Street. We noticed that each other's set didn't involve you know, any swearing. You know, we try to keep it light when it comes to colorful words or, you know, just talking real deep or you know, like. Or even just not saying things that are really just gratuitous and would gross an audience out. So we started talking, found out that we're both Christians, and so we decided to do the kind of humor that we think honors God the best way. Not just, you know, breaking even by staying clean, but also taking it to the next level and trying to tell jokes that lift people up, that make them feel good, while at the same time not insulting really anyone. Our really goal is just to insult ourselves and bring ourselves down. That way it'll be the audience higher up. So.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Well, now, tell me about some of your comedy influences then.
Definitely the biggest comedy influence is Brian Regan. I've never seen someone who's more funny and more hilarious, yet is still able to not have to resort to shock value.
Right.
You've probably noticed he doesn't really swear. He doesn't really get into too much details when it talks about things like sex or drugs or rock and roll. No, he's hilarious. He's absolutely funny, and he doesn't have to resort to a lot of things that other comedians have to resort to. I don't mind sharing him with my in-laws or my mom. You know, I can listen to him if there's a kid around. You know, and it's you know, I feel like the more people that can listen to it, the better. You know?
That sounds good.
Bill Cosby too.
Oh, yeah, I love Bill Cosby, man. I was actually listening to a little bit of Bill Cosby today himself.
I like Bill Cosby because I feel like we're very similar in that he obviously we both love Jell-O pudding.
Oh, yeah.
So do I. I really feel like when I listen to him that his stories are true. Like they probably actually really happened, and all of my jokes are derived from true stories, things that actually happened, real life events, and
Okay.
I can always appreciate when something's a true story. So
Well, actually, that goes a little bit into comedy style. Like
Yeah.
Bill Cosby's a storyteller.
storyteller.
Are you a storyteller as well?
I like to think of myself as a hybrid.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll get deep into a story, and then sometimes it's just a one-liner. You know, it's really
Jokes, huh?
whatever can make the crowd laugh, whatever comes to my mind. I'll take anything that makes people laugh. So I'm not picky.
Okay. Now you can tell this interview is like random, man. You know, this is what we try to do, just have conversations. How long have you been doing comedy?
Been doing comedy probably about 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
My first time was in college. I started in college. UNCW, the college I went
Seahawks. Port City.
to. Bam. UNCW would hold open mics, and then they would have what's called the last Seahawk standing, and anyone could enter. And I
Right.
thought, I've never tried stand-up. I love telling jokes. Maybe I'll give it a shot, you know, and started developing over the years, started getting better and better. I actually won it my final year. Come on. Come on. It's nothing really.
Right. Now, what was the prize for winning?
The prize is that you got to open for a real comedian.
Okay, who'd you open for?
I got to open for Finesse Mitchell.
Okay, yeah.
He was on. He was a cast member on SNL, so I got to open for him. And I came in second place one year, and I got to open up for Dan the Dude. Dan the Dude was on Last Comic Standing. I think he got second place.
Okay.
He's been on The Tonight Show, Comedy Central, really funny guy. And then when I graduated college, it's about the time that Nut Street Comedy Room opened. So I started doing the open mics there. And every once in a while, a club owner would be really nice. He'd say, hey, do you want to open for the visiting comedians? So I've been able to open for a few traveling comedians as well, which has been real fun.
Okay, short plug, Nut Street Comedy Room. Best comedy club in the Southeast.
Bam.
Galaxy. Forget North Carolina, man. I love it. I love it. Hopefully we'll get the owner, Timmy Sherrill, in here sometime.
Absolutely. Nice guy.
Yeah, he is. But back to you. All right, so you've been doing comedy for like 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
Actually, you've got a lot of experience.
Yes.
A lot of tales.
Yes.
What's been your best comedy experience?
My best comedy experience was when I got to open up for a comedian named Jesse Joyce at Nut Street Comedy Room. Jesse Joyce was a really funny guy, and I just really appreciated the time he spent with me afterwards. He let me pick his brain about what touring is like and how to handle crowds and how to handle hecklers. I've never met someone who was so down to earth and so kind, who also did so well at the same time. Really, really cool guy, and I did really well that night. You know, that was the night I decided I really want to try this full time. I really want to try and do this for a living. So it was that night. So
that's good. Now, on the flip side, what has been your worst comedy experience?
The worst comedy experience was one night we were doing a show, and a promoter came up to me and was like, hey, that was a really funny show. Would you mind if I booked you for a competition? And at that point, I've never been booked for anything. So I was like, yeah, look, I would love to compete or whatever you're doing. And she was like, great, we're doing a show at this place called the Sportsman Club. And I was like, all right, fine, the Sportsman Club. Never heard of it. Who cares? I just got asked to do comedy. Great. Well, I asked if my buddy Mike could do it. She was like, you want me and Mike to come? You know, he does the similar kind of humor. And she was like, totally. So we show up to this club called the Sportsman Club in downtown Wilmington, North Carolina.
On Castle Street.
Castle Street.
Yes, for all of you folks who don't know. Next to Booty's Restaurant. Do you know Booty's?
I don't know.
Booty's is a restaurant on Castle Street, and it's been there ever since I've been in high school, man. Since like 90. And they have the best chicken and fish sandwiches. And for some reason, they always taste good between like 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning.
Wonder why that is.
I don't know. I've never been to Booty's outside of those hours, but on Castle Street, so.
So we showed up to this competition at the Sportsman Club on Castle Street next to Booty's. And what the promoter neglected to tell us is that this was a club that only allowed 60-year-old black men and older in. So it was literally a club full of 60-year-old black men and older and young women. I don't know how that combination came together, but
Their daughters.
It was
a father-daughter show.
It was about maybe 14 comedians. Probably 12 black comedians, and Mike and I were the only white comedians. And It was a tough room. It was a tough room. And I was happy. I was like, this is going to make a great story. This is a really fun experience. Obviously, no one listened to us. And I was happy. I was having a good time just because I thought it was a funny story. Mike was pissed. Mike was angry that we had been fooled and that we were brought there to be laughed at, not with. And Mike's a nice guy, too. So, but that was probably the worst comedy experience / funniest.
Okay. Recently, you folks produced your own show?
Yes, we had our second exclusive Clean Getaway Comedy show at Nut Street, and last time it was pretty full. This was our second show this past weekend, and we sold the place out, which was really neat. Didn't expect that to happen at all.
That's good.
Had to turn people away, which was really neat.
That's excellent.
Which we felt very blessed, and the show went really well, and it was neat to get paid to do comedy. That was a first. So
take your hand on that?
That was. Yes, I framed that first amount of money.
So can I get $1?
Well, then I actually had to, break the frames, because those creditors, let me tell you.
How about that experience? There's probably a lot of comedians out there who would like to do that, who want to produce their own show. Is there any advice or something you can give to them about it?
I mean, don't be lazy. It didn't happen just from telling a friend about it. I had to put together flyers. I had to hand out cards. I had to not just make an event, but put it on people's walls on Facebook. You really have to, because people get lazy about things. People look at comedy just like maybe going to the movies or doing something regular. It's not like you and me who are just obsessed with it.
Right.
People are just kind of like, well, maybe I'll see a comedy show twice a year, maybe. You really want to get them involved and just not be lazy about it. It's work.
Yeah.
If you really want people to show up and come, you have to do a lot of promoting as much as you can. And the other side of that is you have to be funny. You have to have good material. It's one thing to sell out a show and do a good show. It's another thing if you sell out a show and do terrible. You have to.
Right.
For me, it takes a lot of practice. A lot of comedians can just get up there and ad lib and not really practice. I have to get a hairbrush, stand in front of a mirror, time myself. For me, it's work and it takes a lot of practice. So. It doesn't come easy, but it's worth it. It's a ton of fun when the audience is on your side and they love what you're doing and they're paying it, and the club owner asks you to come back. So that feels good.
Hey, that's great. I'm excited for you. And of course, you folks know the next thing. You got any guest spots on the next show?
Can you tell clean jokes?
I can tell clean jokes. Washing my mouth out. Washing my mouth out.
Brushing your teeth, right?
That's it.
Washing your mouth.
Washing my mouth out.
Yeah.
What is your favorite joke?
My favorite joke is a lot of times it's the opener that I tell, and I can only tell it in Wilmington because it's special to this town. But everyone feels it. The joke is about when you have a friend come to visit you wherever you live. And doing only the things that you want them to think you do all the time. Like whenever my friends come to visit me in Wilmington, I make sure I do all the things that I want them to think that I do. Like we have a bonfire and we go to the beach, we eat at a waterfront restaurant, make them think that this is what we do all the time. Like, oh, you don't have beach bonfires in Raleigh? Oh, I guess not. We do this every Friday, like. Your town sucks, obviously, I guess. I'd hate to live where you live. Living here is awesome. Of course, when no one's here, we don't do any of that. We don't go to the beach that often, and we don't have beach bonfires unless, people are visiting. And those waterfront restaurants are too expensive. I can't. Come on.
You can't afford it, huh?
No. They don't have a dollar menu. Or a drive-thru. I try.
Hey, you see what I'm talking about? Really funny guy here. Really funny guy here. Hey, all right, John, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me, man.
Of course.
Sitting in with Kenneth McLaurin in the Kenneth McLaurin Comedy Room. Before we get out, once again, it's the Clean Getaway Comedy.
Yes. It's
website?
Yeah, Clean Getaway Comedy. You can go to cleangetawaycomedy.com. Check out some reels. Look at some upcoming shows.
That's what's up.
See a little bit more
Also,
about us.
man, I'll put all this information on the website. We're gonna get into kick us down a couple of videos, so you can
a few
also
clips.
check out some more clips of Mr. John on the website. Hey, that's it, man.
All right.
Kenny McLaurin Comedy Room. Holla at you.